trucking capacity updates as far as intermodal, the Francis Scott Key Bridge, and how that's going to affect the trucking industry. I want to just start off by saying that I want to send my deepest sympathy and deepest condolences to those families of the victims or people who were affected by this crash. Our prayers are with you. The collapse of Maryland's Francis Scott Key Bridge happened on Tuesday in the middle of the night about 1:30 a.m., where a cargo ship ran into the bridge and continues to block the port of Baltimore and is going to disrupt supply chain and travel and transport across the United States. It's unclear how long the debris from this bridge is going to actually block the Patapsco River, which leads to the port of Baltimore. This accident is going to affect the maritime lanes as carriers must seek alternative ports of call while the collapsed bridge continues to block the river. Right now, there are 2 vessels trapped. The ship that caused the collision and another general cargo container vessel that is currently trapped in the bay. The Port of Baltimore is the deepest in the harbor at Maryland's Chesapeake Bay, and they have 5 public and 12 private terminals where they accept ships. Okay, so it is also reported that they don't know exactly how long the port will be suspended for in and out traffic, although there are trucks that are currently there that are still being processed. In the next few weeks, 107 vessels will not be able to call that port, and they will have to divert to other ports, Mander says. The question is, are those ports able to actually absorb the capacity that's coming in from those 107 vessels that aren't going to be able to go into the Port of Baltimore? In 2023 alone, the Port of Baltimore handled $80 billion in trade. So that was 1.1 million of 20-foot equivalent units, 1.3 million tons of roll-on, roll-off farm and construction machinery, 11.7 million tons of general cargo, and 847,000 shipments of cars and light trucks. A major number of companies have distribution warehouses and other facilities at or near the port, right? So that's including Amazon, FedEx, BMW. And in Maryland, most of the freight is regional, with about 30% of that trucking volume staying in-state, and an additional percentage is going to Pennsylvania, and 15% going to Virginia. Rachel Shames, who is the Vice President of Pricing and Procurement for CV International, which is a Norfolk, Virginia-based international logistics and transportation company, wrote in a market update that this collision is expected to create temporary increase in cargo volume at other East Coast ports. Naturally, this sudden uptick in capacity may put a strain on operations at other ports. So the full impacts of this disaster are not yet known, but it's likely that nearby East Coast ports, including Norfolk, Philadelphia, New York, and others, will absorb cargo traffic from Baltimore in the short term. What makes the Baltimore port so unique is the amount and volume of roll-on, roll-off cargo that it handles. So that's such as passenger vehicles along with agricultural and industrial equipment. Not to mention the agricultural exports, rice, sugar, fertilizers, forestry products. It's pretty big in Baltimore. Also, there's a big paper industry and construction materials. This is also going to affect other commodities like cars. That's going to have a major impact. There's also some metal exchange warehouses for nickel, tin, copper in Baltimore. Now, those can also be moved to other ports, but those are bulky materials, right? And they don't move them very easily. Jeff Leopard, who is the Executive Vice President of Modal Operations at Redwood Logistics, which a lot of us have hauled freight for, said that some companies, shippers, customers have several ships currently stuck at the port. Baltimore's fueling depot is also going to be affected by this. It's currently unable to make fueling shipments for the near future, right? So the stretch of I-695 that collapsed with the bridge is the only hazmat approved bridge in the area. So those shipments will have a large diversion in the region and beyond. All those deep water ships, which are vessels with a controlling depth of 50 feet, will have to be diverted to ports such as Norfolk and New York and New Jersey. Mediterranean Shipping Company and Zim Integrated Shipping Services Ltd. are 2 of Port of Baltimore's largest shipping lines. Neither company immediately responded about how this was going to affect them when FreightWaves reached out to them, so we're still waiting on an update from them.